Hi, this is Rick Gualtieri, and this is another Tales of a Midlist Author. And I apologize if it's been a couple weeks since I put up one of these. Um, that being said, what have I been doing? I've been doing probably the same thing that anybody who's watching this series should be doing: writing. Um, I try to put in time every day for that, but occasionally you need to you need to kind of do a sprint. You need to to put your head down and just crank out words. Um, pretty good time for me. In about 10 days, I cranked out about 35,000 words. Uh, wrote a novella for my pen name. Made a lot of progress in book 7 of my series for my main for the series I write under my name. So all good. But wanted to come up for air and talk to you guys. And speaking of series, I thought that was an excellent topic to discuss today. I won't go into what a series is. I'm pretty sure anybody watching this, you know what one is. Interrelated stories that are either the same character, same world. Typically more than 2. You have a book and a sequel. If there's 3, it's a trilogy. But let's talk first about the different types of series. The first, and I'd say probably most rare, is the unrelated series, where you don't have the same characters from book to book. You might just have the same situations or same themes. A good example of that from a movie standpoint is the difference between Halloween 1, 2, and then 3. Halloween 1 and 2 about Michael Myers. Halloween 3, well, I'm still not sure what the hell it was about, but it didn't involve him. And that was kind of how Halloween was originally envisioned. A bunch of stories that really were just related by the Halloween theme, not by the same characters. And you can do that in a book series as well. I've seen that done, fairly successfully. And but I would still say it's probably really rare. The other 2 types are more common, and that's the ongoing series, which is you start writing and you have no foreseeable end. You're planning on just keeping going until either you run out of ideas or you die. There might be 3 books in that series, 5 books, 10 books. You have no plans to end. You're just like running with it, which is cool. Then there's the limited series, where you have a story arc that you have in mind that might take anywhere from 3 to X number of books. And once it's done, you write that big the end. You've created your world, and that's it. You're like, you're finished. You can move on. So now let's kind of talk about the pros and cons of writing a series. The number 1 pro is it is an awesome way for a writer to build a following. If you've written the first of series, you have some awesome characters. You're starting to build a world. You're giving people a taste of this awesome idea you have, of this bigger picture. Then as you write book 2, book 3, books 4, and so on, you're bringing those people back. You're making fans of them. So they're basically saying, yeah, I can't wait for you to to get that next book out. I'm chomping at the bit for that. One other thing that's pretty cool about that is you're essentially think of superhero stories. Your first in that series is your origin story, typically, where you're setting the stage, you're introducing the characters, all of that stuff. Subsequent books are your Superman 2, your Spider-Man 2, where you can kind of get that introduction out of the way. People are kind of like, you're still going to introduce new characters and new settings, hopefully, but you're done with that introductory story, and you can kind of really just dive right in. And that's kind of like, an awesome thing where, okay, I don't have to spend like, a bunch of chapters setting the stage. I can really just jump into it. People are already familiar with what's going on. You do want to keep in mind new readers who might be jumping in mid-series. So you don't want to make it too confusing. But at the same time, not every book is going to be, once again, that origin, set up the world, establish the rules, all of that stuff, because you've already kind of done it. And you can really just kind of allude to that in subsequent books. And that is also pretty cool. I'd say another awesome thing is you're familiar with these characters. You've written them, you've nurtured them, you've created this world, so it allows you to just go beyond the confines of just one book. Expand upon that universe, write about these characters, and really just make them real, make the entire thing real. And that's probably the major pros of a series. I think it's pretty awesome. That being said, there are some downsides to writing a series, and I would probably say my biggest issue is continuity. Now, books 1, 2, and 3, that's not too big of a deal. Once you're deep into a series, you better be having a series Bible. You better have recruited some people who are major fans as beta readers to to smack you around when you get it wrong, because I'm on book 7, and let me tell you, there's a lot of background there at this point. it's actually the 8th book in a series. I had a side story, but which is also part of the continuity. And I have notes left and right, and I'm still making mistakes. I had a scene not too just a couple of weeks ago where a character's asking another character about somebody, and then I realized, oh wait, they went on a date 5 books ago. She already knows this person. Duh. So that's kind of a big thing, continuity. And let me tell you, you have people will skewer you for that if you screw it up. Think of Star Trek. Think of the show Heroes and stuff. Now these are shows that have kind of played with their continuity. Pretended some things did not exist that came before, and some people notice that. So that's a big pitfall. Make sure your continuity is solid. I'd say probably the other one is jumping the shark. And jumping the shark is essentially that high point in a series where it's all downhill from there. Now that's not necessarily a bad thing. Think of Harry Potter. That's an excellent example. Personally, I consider the jumping the shark moment to be Goblet of Fire, which is an awesome book. Does that mean the rest of the books were horrible? No, I enjoyed the rest of the series. But it means that was the best of the series. And from there, it was kind of like that everything was good, but not as good. That's a good example of jumping the shark, where it's like, okay, I enjoy everything, but one book is my favorite. The bad example is where, okay, we have some good stories, and now they're starting to get boring, until the point that they suck, and you say, I don't care about this series anymore. I'm jumping off. I've done that unfortunately a few times. There's some books I really enjoy, and they've just reached that point where I'm just like, okay, I just do not care anymore because it almost seems aimless. That's why I'm a big fan of limited series. You go in there, you tell the story that you're going to tell, and then you're done. And once again, however many books that takes. Excuse me. The other thing I would say is you see a lot of authors out there milking it. They might say, hey, I have a 5-book series planned, but something that's selling well, maybe I'll put in a 6th, and I'll just put in essentially some filler material. People are not dumb. They can kind of tell when you're really milking it a bit. Try to get extra sales. Might they still give you those sales? Yeah. If they're true fans, yeah, they will. But at the same time, they might resent it as well. I'd say kind of stick to that initial vision, because here's the thing about a series. Ending a series can be scary. As I said, I'm on book 7. I'm planning my series to be 8 books, and it's freaking me out. It's like, oh, what am I going to do afterwards? Which is stupid because I have plenty of stories to tell. But stepping away from a series can be healthy creative wise, because you're so mired in these characters. Maybe writing about different characters for a while, gives you a little creative boost. And 2, here's the thing. There's nothing that says you can't create a sequel series. A sequel series is a series that takes place in that same world. It might have the same characters, it might have new characters. Maybe it's set 20 years after, with the sons and daughters of the original characters. Think about Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra. That's a sequel series. We have, some stuff that's familiar, so people feel kind of at ease. But then you have a bunch of other stuff that's new. So essentially, is you take what's old and make it new again. Another thing to do is an interrelated world. Stephen King does this a lot. Read Tommyknockers and you can see a cameo by by Pennywise from It. Once again, sorry if those are spoilers. It's not a major part of the plot. It's one of those, hey, if you just noticed it or so. But that's the other thing. You can have an interrelated world where, maybe characters who showed up as bit players in the one series, maybe they go on to their own adventures. So if you get freaked out about ending a series, just remember it's not necessarily the end. It's potentially just a new beginning. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. I'm a big fan of a series of series writing. Anywhere from a trilogy to, once again, however many. My main thing is 1, continuity, and 2, beware of that jump in the shark moment. Don't milk it. If you've told the story that you meant to tell, then move on, and don't linger. And if you are doing an ongoing series, do what you need to do to keep it fresh, because that's really kind of an important key to keep people from coming back. It needs to stay fresh. All right, that's about all I have to say on that subject. Once again, my name is Rick Gualtieri. This is Tales of a Midlist Author, and I hope you have found this series to be useful. And I can't wait to talk to you again soon. Thanks.